Women are a liability. 9 out of 10 divorces are filed by women. Men only win in divorce court 7% of the time. That means women win 93% of the time. Why would I work hard and invest in a life with someone if over 50% of the time it ends in divorce? Then they can take everything when they leave. I have been in 3 relationships that all lasted about 3 years apiece. Some 9 years of relationships, and not a single one asked me if I was happy. Not one. They don't actually care. It's happy wife, happy life. Nobody actually cares about the husband. I married one of my exes, and after she had the ring, she was a monster. I should have never married in the first place. She cleaned me out financially. Took me several years to recover. I didn't cheat either. She did. She left me for her ex. So women are a liability. They make the argument that not all of them are bad. But the point is they have the power, and more of them take advantage of that power. So it's not worth it for a man to be in a relationship. Dating is a waste of time. The more time I spend with women, the less time I spend on my business. Dating is a waste of money. Women just want free food and trips. I'm not a foodie, and I prefer solo travel. Very low return on investment. I don't trust modern women to be loyal. They are only loyal to money, materialistic pursuits, and opportunity. Modern American or European-based women are too masculine. Marriage is not at all beneficial for men. You can get the same without being legally bound and losing half of your assets. I enjoy my peace. Modern women are typically disruptors of peace. I enjoy my own company. I don't want children if she decides to leave and take children and child support. No thanks. Women are great as friends, to work with, do business with, talk to for sex, but not to be in a relationship with. Here's what a fellow red-pilled man has to say.
There's just not as much incentive as there used to be. Men used to get married for extremely practical reasons. Regular access to sex, someone to handle the overwhelming amount of household chores, to avoid judgment from parents, and many more. Most of those pressures have been eliminated. Dating sites mean access to casual sex, and very short-term relationships is greater than it ever has been. And even if you suck with women, porn seems good enough for most. Things like dishwashers, washing machines, Roombas, microwaves, and Groove-Up have made taking care of the necessities of life much less time-consuming, such that you can take care of yourself pretty easily without needing someone else to help you. And being single has been destigmatized in society to a large extent. Pretty much the only reason to be in a long-term relationship as a man is if you can't handle being alone and need constant company, or if you want to have kids. Some men are perfectly comfortable being alone, and maybe I'm super off base and will get a lot of pushback for this, but I truly don't think the majority of men actively desire kids. It's something they do for the woman to make her happy, and of course, once they're in the picture, you can't help but love them and want to take good care of them and be a good father. But it seems to me that for most men, being willing to have kids is something you need to do to get and keep a wife, which is the actual goal, whereas it seems for most women, getting a husband is something you need to do to have kids, which is their actual goal. I think the majority of men would be perfectly okay not having kids if their partner also didn't want them. Then on top of there not being a lot of pressures actively pushing you in that direction anymore, there are active negatives pushing you away. Most relationships aren't very healthy because most people aren't well-adjusted adults, talking about both genders here. Most relationships end, and most marriages end in divorce. I'm guessing somebody who wants to get into a relationship primarily because of the stability and companionship is very disheartened by that reality. Why get into something for stability if it's doomed to end? That's the opposite of stable. Expectations around romance have changed. It used to be enough for a man and woman to be physically attracted to each other and generally get along. Now both genders seem to expect their partner to share a lot of common interests. Unfortunately, interest in hobbies and careers is still heavily gendered, and overlap is smaller than almost all of us would prefer it to be. So many women's dating profiles have things like America's Next Top Model and books like 50 Shades of Grey as their only media interests. I get that it's truthful, but is that supposed to make men interested in you? What would you and I even talk about? The only men who are going to swipe right on you are interested in you purely for your looks, which probably isn't super healthy for either person. The same goes for men who are only interested in fishing and hunting. Putting a picture of you holding the fish you caught on your dating profile isn't winning any women over. Money is also tighter now than it has been in the past. Relative wage growth has been stagnant since the 70s. And while feminists push for equality and women are earning the same as men barring promotions and raises in high-level corporate culture, and potentially even more in the future considering current graduation rates compared to men, a lot of women still require men to make significantly more than they do and be providers. This is an unrealistically high expectation based on the same traditional gender roles feminists claim to be opposed to. In my opinion, if you're not willing to date down in income, if the man fits your qualifications in every other way, then you're not actually a feminist. You want to be taken care of, and you want to reinforce traditional patriarchal gender roles. Which is fine, just be honest about it, and don't turn around and get mad at men who express a desire to find a traditional wife who will stay at home, cook, take care of the children 100%, and be loyal. Anyway, the point is, I think more men would be more interested in dating if a huge financial burden wasn't expected from them by default, not to mention the future possibility of child support for a kid they never wanted to have in the first place, or alimony from a divorce. Relationships are financially risky for men, but generally financially rewarding for women. I always pay for the first date because you can't get away with not doing so in today's culture, and I don't really care. But if a woman doesn't at least offer to chip in something, which I will usually refuse, but the gesture is very appreciated, or doesn't offer to pay for the next date, I consider that a huge red flag. Too often, dating feels like a transaction, where each party is trying to get more than they are willing to give. A woman thinks her time, attention, and access to her pussy is precious and uses it to barter. She thinks a man should pay for her dinner because her presence is intrinsically worth something. Men think spending money on a woman, doing favors for her, and giving her compliments is worth something, and that the payment should be sex, that sex is something she needs to be convinced into. Does nobody else see how toxic this is? Where's the mutuality? Remove the sexual element. Who does this with platonic friends? I don't expect my best friend to pay for my food in return for being graced by my presence. I don't expect to bribe my friend into playing a video game with me by buying shit for him. I'm not going to barter for access to your pussy. That's gross as fuck and feels a little like rape to me. If you're not attracted to me, why are we wasting each other's time? If you're attracted to me and enjoy spending time with me, there's no logically or morally defensible reason I should pay for everything since you're already getting as much out of the interaction as I am.
Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers.